goes on to face the other 3 players for the Battlegrounds New York City Day 2 here. Let's introduce our players in the southwest position as the Red Zerg. Give it up for Acer Scarlett.
And spawning in the opposing corner, the WCS Season 2 champion, a crowd favorite from Team Startail, it is Bomber!
It has been a long minute since we've seen Cloud Kingdom. Of course, we got to see it in one of the previous matchups, but I was watching the Twitterverse, and there were some folks saying, oh yeah, this map, I kind of like it. Yeah,
Is it an 11-11? This is so smart. I mean, you think about the way that the modern maps work. Everyone has their standard spots that they scout for cheeses, but then when you bring back an older map, people are going to be so unlikely to scout those spots because it's just fallen out of their brain.
Oh, now, okay, saving grace, is there any, right? We look at it, 12, 19, 15, 18. Will an Overlord perhaps go to the east location to, you know, perhaps get over there to get behind the natural? It could be possible. The first one would, of course, cross map. The second one up towards the natural.
Oh, man.
But we've got a single racks down. There's not a second one, and we do have Hatch first. So
now, if you'll recall, in the WCS Season 2 Grand Final, Scarlett was the only player able to push Bomber to the brink. A 2-3 victory for Bomber, but Scarlett lost to this exact playstyle in that game number 5, the proxied Reapers. So Star Sense almost there for Scarlett. She almost detects it, but no dice. I mean, this could be a nightmare scenario. Scarlett just said that she regained her composure. To have this blast forward is going to be a real brutal.
Oh, and there we see the bunker going down immediately, and now's your chance to vote. Will Scarlett take too much damage from this proxy? We're going to find out very, very soon. Now, instantly a drone to come down and try to deal with this may need to pull a couple more.
Look at this. Scarlett is reacting perfectly. She's normally you'd see this and go, uh-oh, it's going to be an 11-11. And what are you going to do? Pull 9 drones. That's 9 targets for the Reaper. Scarlett has done none of that. Scarlett scouted everything, sees that it's a Reaper. Let's see how many drones Scarlett can keep alive or how many will be lost. Oh, at the last second, one gets picked off. SCV does go down, but it looks like only one has fallen thus far.
So far, and if I'm not mistaken, that bunker is still not complete. The SCV's gone down. Here come the Zerglings to chase away. And there we go, salvage. And I would say that those who voted no, the 46%, looks like they might be in a good position here.
Star Sense is with the people who voted. Now, the way that Bomber's going to play this off, he's going to be going for 4 Reapers, and then he has to go factory tech. There's just no time to be able to try to squeeze out more barracks. You have to keep the pressure on, so we tend to see Reaper Hellion straight into Reaper Hellion Banshee. It's going to be a very aggressive, contained focus style, but look, this is just a magnificent job of keeping drones alive. Thus far, Bomber has killed only 2 workers.
Right, and that is just incredible. I mean, you've seen Scarlett drop down, and what happens is typically those drones hit that low. Oh, almost goes down, and there's not a queen inside the main. Here comes the 3rd Reaper as well. And that proxy location is really great here for Bomber. But saving quite a few of those drones. I think a few more have gone down, and we'll do a full assessment here once it's all over. There's a couple Reapers that are just near death, and those queens are trying to put them underground, but it is not going to happen. And just Bomber retaining those, that's a pretty big deal.
I mean, Bomber is always known for his marine-based play, but God is his micro exceptional. There's 3 command centers down right now. Bomber continuing to storm in. And it looks like Scarlett has just barely set up the defense.
And 4th Reaper coming on in. These queens now not going to take this fight one-on-one. We get some reinforcements here. But this also kind of eliminates any sort of quicker third. It's going to be hard to even get a single drone over there as we see Bomber hop back up and down from that low ground to the high ground into the main. And again,
God, Bomber is exceptional at keeping those alive. I mean, even these 1 queens now are a potential threat. I mean, you can lose these very, very easily if you're not careful. I mean, the queens have lower life than the Reapers right now. But you'll look back on the production tab, you'll look back in Bomber's base, he's only able to build 1 Hellion at a time because he doesn't have time to get the reactor down. Bomber actually has a clock on him. If Bomber doesn't do enough damage, if Bomber doesn't contain for long enough with Reaper Hellion, then Scarlett bursts forward and with a huge surge of momentum takes a quick, easy win. So the Hellions have to start coming out now. The Banshee has to come up to join, and Scarlett's already erupting up to 5 queens? 6 queens already? No, it's going to be 5, but 5 on 2 bases. Pretty Banshee-proof.
Yeah, and I think the 5 queens coming out, you know, even the 4 getting up to that spot, it was really all about just surviving that time in between those, you know, Reapers 2 and 3 and try to minimize that damage as much as possible.
Yeah.
There's a nice transfuse to just make sure that nothing is dying here. There's a lot of damage being dealt, but nothing is really dying. I don't know what our current drone count was for how much damage those Reapers actually ended up doing. So
only
5 total.
Yeah. And now Scarlett's powering up. There's the cloak en route with the Banshee. Scarlett must get spores. There's no time to get the layer. This is one of the primary goals of this, to contain, to delay, to harass, and oh gosh, look at Scarlett's money. Had plenty of opportunity to begin that layer sooner, but opted for the 1-1 upgrades. Oh no, cloak's gonna be done long before. I mean, Bomber is timing this out magnificently.
Yeah, the queens now are at danger of going down. The Reapers, because none of them actually fell, are going to be very effective here, but there's a good transfuse. Keep 1 queen alive. We are going to see both Hellions go down, but again, retaining those Reapers. Of course, you can still use them for map vision, help clear out creep at the end, and of course, that's one of the things we talked about earlier. Scarlett wants to get that creep spread out as much as possible. She wants to make sure that she has it to use to her advantage, and those Reapers can certainly help to clear that as well. But here comes the Banshee.
That Zergling's going to spot that Banshee, Marcus, and I mean, we've already posed the question to you at home. If you think that Scarlett's going to be prepared for the Banshee, well, there it is moving forward. Almost enough time to get up an Overseer, but not quite enough. We see that the cloak is about to be done. Bomber's going to be denying that third straight away.
Yeah, I mean, what really could be done here? Probably just let it get beat down to the end and throw out a cancel. There's the cloak. We've got nothing to detect from this point. Lings do move forward, try to take out some of these units. And, you know, the nice thing about this is that she could wait till that last moment to actually cancel, just in case she does somehow hold this off. And,
oh,
nice.
A few seconds, and it would have been gone. Actually, 1 second, it would have been gone. But we see the 4 queens there. Will Bomber suspect anything? And Bomber falls for the trap. Will pick off a queen at the cost of a critical Banshee. Momentum far swinging back to Scarlett now.
And holding on to that third base, which is exactly the thing. You know, can't preemptively cancel, but just watching it, and it was perfectly done right there. Now that the second Banshee comes in, at this point, Scarlett's much more prepared on this side. But the third is going down for Bomber, and he has done a great job in retaining almost everything that he's had from the beginning. Of course, he's had his losses as well, but with that third base coming in, I'm curious to see how that's going to affect Bomber's army overall.
Well, this is very smart. Scarlett's saying there's a vulnerability at the third. I'll poke at it with most of my Zerglings, but let me keep some here, swinging in from the backside. But wow, Bomber's build orders too strong. Already has Stim Marines, already has all the defense he needs, and man, Bomber is just an incredible build order architect, Marcus.
That was actually a fair amount of Lings that just went in there, and it was even a surround. We had Lings come in through the natural, and as well as the third. But the perfect amount of Hellions right there, and of course the Marines to clean up. We see the Baneling speed coming out. Of course the Spire's gone down, so the Mutas are starting to make their way. As common, now the Overlord speed, which is pretty much a necessity these days versus Terran, to make sure you're not getting whacked with any Widow Mines overall. And 2-2 upgrades coming out. But the bioforces of, and you'd mentioned that, you know, 100%, that this is the way that we would see a Bomber play, and that's exactly what he's doing right now, as we have their first crew moving out, a couple Widow Mines in tow as well, and making their way across the map.
Man, I mean, the loss of those Zerglings can be understated. Now, there's no reinforcements to help keep the Mutalists alive. There's fewer targets to morph into Banelings. I mean, Scarlett has to be really careful here. I mean, Bomber is timing this fantastically. 1-1's done, Combat Shield done, Stim done. A transfuse to keep a Mutalisk alive, but oh no! A discoordinated attack, a lift, and Banelings get annihilated by that early set of Widowed Mines, but Scarlett is still trying to control 2-2's nearing completion for Scarlett, but man, the ant line of Marines is never ending, Marcus.
Yeah, and this is the part that gets really scary as a Zerg player, because every time you give up those Banelings, it's not like they're there to use again. So you've got to make sure that you're going to be able to have the right amount for that next attack. Otherwise, the Marines will just parade you to death. And the pickup in that last engagement was absolutely remarkable there by Bomber. And here's that situation. Marines moving in. The Baneling's going to have to give up, but there's no more Banelings left, and we've got another group just outside on their way. And this is where it gets real nasty.
15 Marines being produced at a time. Scarlett needs to land miracle Baneling shots if she wants to stay alive. I mean, Bomber's build orders were too good. Full medevacs, ready to unload. Some transfuses help keep it alive a little longer, but even that's not enough.
Yeah, it's not. And even though a lot of picked up and the Mutas are firing him down, he's going to go ahead and take him into the main. Muta's there, but with so many Marines and another group coming in, what can Scarlett possibly do? There we see a fourth base going down, and these Marines are staking claim on Scarlett's base.
Unfortunately, Sky Banelings don't exist. Even with a perfect angle, Scarlett does not have enough. Good game.
GG.
Bomber's so good in that matchup.
It's longer. There's 4 places as well, so
I'm excited to see the way the Bomber will adjust. He's not a player who will say, this map is strong for Terran or weak for Terran because of what I normally do. No, he is going to structure a build specifically for this map. Up in the top right-hand corner, she is perhaps the fan favorite in this match. Whether it's true or not, she certainly has many fans in the audience. She's down 0-1 from Team Acer. It is Scarlett.
And in the northwest position as the blue Terran, he wants to try to close this game out to win the series and move on with parting. Give it up for Bomber!
You know, there's a glorious sign out in the crowd today, Marcus.
Is there?
It's a photo of a bomb that says next to it. I really like that. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, look, a bomb
That guy's good at Pictionary too, I hear.
Oh, yeah.
He
writes out the ER, and the judge is like, hey,
you can't do that.
Those are letters.
But it looks cool. It's like, yes, you win. Congratulations. So let's talk about the implications of this map. This is it for Scarlett. She's got to win this one in order to stay alive. Bomber, very confident after a victory, means that he's got some room to, to play around with. And in this case, like, this could be his advanced ticket into day 2. So, we talk about the mentality that each of these players in this case, like, I think that most certainly that Scarlett's under much more pressure in this particular game than Bomber has to be.
Yeah. I mean, like, in terms of the map influencing the way they're going to play, we touched on this a little bit right before we did the player intros, that very often players will look at a map like this and say, oh, this map is good for this race because of what the race normally does. No one looks at it and says, what's the potential for this race? So you might look at this as Terran and say, gosh, biomine pushing is going to be very hard because it's not a clear pathway. There's a lot of counterattacks because Zerg usually goes Ling Muta Baneling. Therefore, it's stronger for Zerg. But guess what? Bomber, we've seen Pioneer style where he gets very few Widow Mines, just some, mainly Marines and tons of medevacs, and has full force drops spreading out everywhere. He utilizes the speed of the medevacs to basically have almost a Zerg style of Terran play, where he's harassing and dropping and hitting in too many places at once. And I've seen Scarlett fall apart to that style against different players, such as Startail Hack, another player who's a teammate of Bomber.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think we've seen a lot of Zergs fall apart to this style. Like this map particular, and note that Scarlett did take that third hatch that's just to the down left of where her natural is, versus the one that is immediately to the left right there. So the thing is like that third that's to the left of the main, it's a little weird because it has the overhang on the side. There's like a secret passageway back to it, but it also makes dropping, for the turn, like, so fantastic. Come here, back into the main. It makes it much more difficult for you to spread your army out and have to react to each of those drops.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, positioning is amazingly impactful on this map. I mean, Bomber, I think, is going to have the hardest decision of all. Where does he take his third base? There's really not a great third. Yeah, that's right. That Overlord is going to be fine.
Well, for a little while, I think.
Don't worry.
Those Marines have a mission. We'll see. We'll see.
Zerg actually has a very self-sufficient form of health care. They just heal on their own over time. They just have to hang out long enough.
All right, so Zergling's popping up here. See that the wall's out, just to check, make sure, knows obviously the position of her opponent. Third base is up. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
persistent.
Man. Those Zerglings are high-fiving so hard right now. Dude, he totally didn't expect it. Oh, he died in half, man.
Overlord does pop in. Observer out of BC. Shout out to him, by the way, showing that it did see that there is not a gas on that geyser.
Surprisingly standard play from both players. Yeah. Surprisingly, because Bomber is the least standard in this matchup, and I think the poll that just closed is really telling what people think about the Widowmine nerf. How much has it changed the matchup? I think some is the perfect way to put it, because not only is the more standard plays of the Widowmine Marine medevac play, that works well. Not as well, but it still works well. But now players are starting to diversify as Terran. They're starting to get more Thors in there. We see Bomber getting a lot more tanks. We see Hellbats being used more frequently. So I really think that adjustment has really made Terran players think. But I think all Terrans other than Bomber are still a long ways from really figuring out what their groove is. But man, Bomber knows exactly how to power up so many Marines so quickly.
All right, now we've got these two Hellions poking out, seeing if they can possibly deny some creep. One of the things that Scarlett said about her creep spread specifically the other day during the meet and greet is that, she focuses on fanning instead of, there's two different styles, right? A lot of people will just group those tumors together and try to get it to spread as quick as possible. Hold on, we've got the Hellions coming inside. Good block by the Queen, and the Zerglings do manage to block that off, but the third is completely wide open. That means a few of these drones are going to go down. Lings will chase away. Nice job by Bomber pulling the weaker Hellion to the front and trying to avoid the jaws of the claws of those Zerglings. But
yeah, I mean, 3 Hellions is the critical number. It takes 3 shots to kill a drone. So even if you kill that first one, there's still a little bit of death insurance there. So, a big misplay from Bomber. Wow, Bomber getting a little overeager.
That's always a nice little win, too, when you don't have speed.
Yeah, I know you have these slow Zerglings lumbering their way, taking credit for the Queen's work. And now we see, an interesting choice from Scarlett. Baneling Nest is going down, although that's a very typical time to get the Banelings. It's a good crowd control device. But there is a potential to do the all-in play. Why is that? Because the Hellions are dead. Look at Bomber's vision. He sees nothing.
Yeah, he really doesn't see, he sees nothing, just as you said. And we've got the third base going down. The fourth base now for Scarlett. And all upgrades kind of as you would expect them to be. There, of course, we've got the Overlord speed as well. I believe Lair just finished up for Scarlett.
Yeah. Boom goes the Spire.
There goes Spire.
I mean, it doesn't go boom, but it's getting built now. I mean, honestly, these are the positions that I like most for Zerg, because the early games are real pain because of how close the Terran is proximally, but now that it's late game, Terran's going to have a very hard time ever getting control of that southern watchtower and northern watchtower at the same time. They're both just way out of the way of each other, so Zerg can easily counterattack all the way along the top side, can counterattack along the bottom, is expanding away from the Terran player very safely. I think the Bomber is in a very difficult position, but we're seeing him not get as many mines as a normal Terran player. He's focusing a lot more on Marines. And actually, what's the factory count at? Does he just have one? Yeah, there's not even another one producing.
I feel like he's still making more than he made versus Golden, but I don't know. We'll have to exactly see how he goes. I mean, this first little push out, he's definitely got a few more mines than he had the last time, and instantly a few more Banelings are being morphed in. And that's the advantage of having to creep up to that tower and always maintaining the vision, but doing as every good Terran does, clearing out this creep spread. It's absolutely crucial. Here we see these mines now starting to tunnel away.
Centrifugal hooks, 4 seconds away from completion. It's going to be done. Bomber's got to be very careful. Spreading out. It looks like Scarlett is moving to the backside. The Widow mines. Oh my God. Do some pretty sick detonations there. Another incredible hit. I think Scarlett's surprised to see this many mines there. A couple of good connections are going to help Scarlett out, but these two queens are almost guaranteed to fall.
Yeah, we got some more links coming out, but keep in mind the Marines are all but gone. Well, they'll have the reinforcements coming in, and again, here's where it gets real scary because suddenly Lings are lost, and you need the Banelings, and now your opponent's pushing you further and further back, and even though the 4th base is now up, we see that he is pushing all of his units forward, and we have Scarlett rallying now just to the pocket of her 3rd. This is not good.
Scarlett, I think, is overbuilt worker. Scarlett is at 95 drones. Far too high at this point in time. So Scarlett, though, if she can get up to a critical Mutalisk count, is going to be in fantastic shape. But Bomber is so aggressive. Bomber is going to take out the 4th. He's both going to repel the attack, kill the Overseers, and knock down the 4th base. This is bad news for Scarlett.
And I think now Scarlett has to be thinking about defending this 3rd base and not letting anything happen to it. She can now get a few more bases, didn't really have the luxury of doing before. But Bomber's going to have those reinforcements, and now combining these two armies, still hindering that creep spread. Oh, nice!
That is the Widow Mine, or the Baneling connection that Scarlett needed.
Yep.
Bomber plummets down to 130 supply, which is going to be pretty pleasing to the folks online who just voted that they wanted Scarlett to win this match. But of course, both big fan favorites we see only by a few percents.
And now, as we see Bomber adding back to his army, he doesn't have that double size that he had due to that Baneling hit. Do you have to just start doing something with your mutas and try to prevent this force from moving forward? I mean, you're still stuck. Here we have 12 more Banelings coming out, but we've got a nice
It's all going to be about counterattacks right now. The Widow Mine count is very low for Bomber because he went for aggression. He went for more Marines. He didn't go for the factories. Counterattacks like this are going to be absolutely brutal. And what can Bomber do? He can't hold any position. He has not enough mines, but he's still drilling forward anyways, Marcus.
Oh, he did, and he actually took out a lot of Banelings there from Scarlett. Everything seems to be cleared up in the main, and the Baneling count is really low. A pre-spread here by Bomber. Banelings going around to the backside, unfortunately losing a few more than she needed to. And now Scarlett once again with her back against the wall. We've got more Lings coming in, but the Banelings is what's needed to dispatch these large group of Marines. Here we go once again.
Oh God, the splitting from Bomber is insane. Bomber does manage to stay alive in this engagement despite not really having very strong reinforcement potential. Losing this base is okay as Scarlett has so many drones and so many locations to head to. This might be the surround, but even so, Bomber's reinforcement lines are continuing to pile up.
Wow, and does the medevac count, you mentioned that, just so high, makes sea healing so effective. And really the only way you're getting rid of this army is it's obviously not going one-on-one with the mutas, but you've got to get a Baneling hit similar to what she got earlier on. The muta count looking nice, but that's very, very scary. 3-3 is halfway done. And as you know, that just absolutely eats mutas for breakfast. It's not going to be pretty.
Well, looks like Scarlett's going to run headlong into the big push from Bomber. Bomber's never let Scarlett get into a good defensive position. No burrowed Banelings, no spine crawlers, no nothing. This is a prey attack from Scarlett. She's hoping she has enough. I don't know if it will be. Zergling's coming in from all sides. It's exactly what Scarlett needed. We're seeing more reinforcements getting cut off. The retreating medevac line's not going to be enough. Scarlett has almost 2,000 minerals banked. Bomber, in a desperation move, is trying to take out the bottom right. Scarlett may have barely secured her defense.
I think that's also one of the steps that Scarlett had to make in order to hopefully see if she could find victory in this matchup. The medevacs, unfortunately, even with the lack of units, she had to keep those mutas around and couldn't necessarily chase those medevacs to try to lower those numbers a bit. But I also feel like you still got to be careful. How many Marines are coming out at any given time? Like 12 or 15? And that's a scary amount. Oh, no.
Oh, and it does connect. But remember, the splash radius has been decreased for those mines, and we're seeing Bomber appropriately readjust his play style. He has barracks to the max, not trying to over factory. I think Scarlett's getting a little over eager here, Marcus. I don't know if this is the best move. But Scarlett has decided that she has to strike now. The surround on the Zerglings are what pulled it through, and Scarlett shatters it with ease.
Wow, now she's going to go ahead and take it into the natural as well, but pulling back, potentially taking out this third, watching that, and I think that that's just as much of a victory. There we see the final Marines in the back getting taken out, and it will force a lift. Didn't kill as many SC SCVs, but the fact that it was disrupted, lifted, etc.
Oh, a drop at the bottom right side. Bomber is on point, removing the key bases for Scarlett. Scarlett has to stay on 8 geysers, but is barely running 5 at this point in time. Scarlett's main mined out. Bomber, who looks like he's on the ropes, is actually slowly pulling back into this game.
I think the scariest part is that we don't see Hive yet. And please correct me if I'm wrong,
that's
right?
true.
But we don't see Hive yet. 3-3 is done. Zergling's left on 2-2. And I think this is going to be a real big problem. I mean, everything else that you could possibly want, whether it be Ultras or the Vipers or anything, is just not there.
Oh, Scarlett. Oh, no. She moved forward and then back and then forward. The Banelings are not getting the connections they need. This is a big win for Bomber. He's storming forward. Scarlett is suddenly on the ropes again.
44 Lings in production. Few coming out. Immediately, many of those turn to Banelings. We are going to see another hatchery fall. This one, unfortunately, hasn't had much luck in keeping up, and it's not going to be saved.
Uh-oh, and Bomber is immediately going to dart into the third base. Scarlett is going to have to fall back. Scarlett is going to have to elect to be on 6 gases again unless she can take out this force. And it looks like yet again the creep spread of Scarlett lets her defend and deflect these drops at the same time.
We're now looking at 157 supply to the 77 of Bomber, and one has to wonder, like, at what point is that really proved? Oh, hold on, Baneling's rolling in.
Oh, and there it is. Is there going to be a split?
GG!
No, GG! The crowd goes nuts.
Wow.
What a play. That was such a tough game for Scarlett. I mean, Bomber, with the number of Marines he gets, he can drop, he can push earlier than most players. Most players need to wait till 14, 15. Bomber was coming out at 11 minutes. Has to make sure he can maintain that composure and not let Scarlett's incredible momentum roll him over.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping into the game. Let's introduce our players in the northeast position, as the Red Zerg needs this win to advance on in Group A with parting. Give it up for Acer Scarlett.
Up in the top left-hand corner, he got 2nd place at last year's Battlegrounds. He just got 3rd, 4th at the World Championship. He's looking for a 1st place. Can he do it? From Team Startail, it is Bomber! Marcus, this crowd is kick-ass.
They are.
You guys rule.
Love you guys.
You got signs and flags and people standing up. People worried about the fact that I maybe didn't pay my rent, but I totally did this month. I'm really excited about that. We even got some folks up on the higher balconies. What's going on, top balcony?
All right.
Yeah, all right.
That looks fun up there.
It's actually kind of hard because there's like a light shining in our eyes, but I saw movement. There's a lot of movement, man.
There's some signs up there as well. Now, we have something. And here is what you thought maybe we would have in the first game, but we now definitely have in the third game. Yeah.
Oh my God, Scarlett is going gas.
Oh God.
He's gone gas pool, and it's a double proxy. Bomber is walking into the worst possible situation. He's going to be up against 1 base Speedling. Scarlett is scouting around. This is so common on maps like this to do something a little bit unexpected. Here comes Scarlett. Scarlett checks the ramp, and Scarlett says, where is the supply depot? Why is there no depot at the ramp? Scarlett is immediately going to suspect something may not even move out to take an expansion.
Well, when you're in this position and you've already taken the expansion, you've got to do something to react. But in this particular situation, she sort of expected something bad could happen. I might as well be ready for it.
Oh, and there it is. Look, Scarlett going Lings, Speed, and Queen before the hatch. This is a devastating loss for Bomber. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Did Scarlett really metagame Bomber that well on this map?
Well, it's not over yet. It's definitely, it's starting to look that way, Sean. We just have the one, now 2 drones on the gas. First Lings are out. I feel like you still have to kind of like bait the SCV, right? To know.
There's the Zerglings taking it out, and what is Bomber going to do? Bomber is stuck between a rock and a hard place. We're seeing the Zerglings go straight over to the main base, and Scarlett is now beginning to mine gas again. Scarlett is now retreating the Overlords to make sure that they don't accidentally die to something like Marines moving in anyways, and it looks like it's going to be a Baneling bus choice for Scarlett. Scarlett's still continuing to head in, and Bomber has to rally from these barracks, and now Bomber's lifting the barracks. This is a devastating position for the Korean Terran.
I mean, the Lings being in a position now where they can actually cut off these units Marines as well. There's nothing that could be done to put down the front door, and speed is still a bit off, but there's only 3 Marines here. The SCVs are definitely going to have to come in to this battle. I still think that Scarlett needs to be careful here, but, well, there we see CC at the top, so it's going to be a long time before those racks get over. 1 Marine goes down. There's only 3 Marines left on the map.
Scarlett almost has Zergling speed, and there it is.
Oh, no.
Darting forward. Will she get the Marines? No. Bomber's control is too good. And Scarlett has also canceled the Baneling Nest, so there's going to be no all-in. That would have guaranteed a win, but Scarlett's going to try to go toe-to-toe with Bomber on the macro front.
Now those 2 racks are about ready to make their way back to the main base. We're going to see the CC finishing up, almost able to get that SCV. And these 3 Marines are absolutely hero Marines for being able to defend this off.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
I still think maybe those initial Lings that went in, maybe tried to dance them, hide them a little bit better.
Totally.
But, you know, hindsight is 20/20. So
yeah, I mean, it's so easy to want to go for the win there, but you need to get the edge.
Yeah. So now that we see the sort of the Scarlett being reserved, like you know, the Baneling all-in might be the way to go, but now being a bit more reserved, you still feel like there's a substantial advantage here, or do you think that it's more evened out?
It's very unclear because this is such an odd situation with the gold third. What Scarlett's likely going to be doing is rushing to Mutalisks as fast as she can because Bomber has a very clear play. 3 command center. I mean, if he didn't have geysers for a long time,
right,
and he's building up minerals because he's got floating barracks, so the only reasonable choice for Bomber there is to spend that accumulated minerals on more bases. But Scarlett's going to be getting the Spire up very, very fast. Scarlett's going to be able to apply pressure long before there's any sort of stim done. There's the Spire going up, and now this is when Scarlett decides to take a third.
Yeah, I mean, that second, the natural went up almost immediately once the lair finished. We've got the Spire, and these Lings still sort of denying this natural. And we'll probably continue to do so a little bit longer. There's not actually that many more units out for Bomber than there was at the very beginning, but I think both players, in respect out of one another, just kind of went back and said, I'm going to do what I need to do to get back in this game and make sure that you don't just get an easy win off me. And I think that Scarlett wants to find the safety win if there is such a thing. So
Bomber is playing this so cautiously. Just constantly being very careful. These Hellions are one of the more defensive plays that Bomber could pull off right now. Bomber is hoping to get some intel because he's playing so far in the dark. Look at Bomber's vision. He hasn't even scouted any creep at this point. The Mutalisks are almost out at this point in time, so Scarlett's going to begin slowly chipping away at Bomber. And look at the exposed tech lab, Marcus. That is the real danger for Bomber right now. Oh,
you're absolutely right. The Mutas can just kind of float over the side of that, just in the southeast of the Terran base. And these Hellions aren't going to do that much. We're going to have 6. We'll have 6 Mutas on the way from the initial gas that Scarlett had. And I feel like that is just the largest target that one could possibly put there. But the Mutas, with their fly time, it's going to be really close to call.
Yeah, I mean, it's still good 50 seconds before that stim's done, and it's going to be all eyes on the Mutalisks now. Where will they go? How is Bomber going to try to recoup after that extremely tense opening?
Well, Mutas are meeting up at a meeting here. Going to talk about how this is going to go down. Definitely take out SCV. There's another SCV.
Guaranteed damage is the choice for Scarlett, picking off SCVs as much as she can.
And then sees it. Here is going to be that moment of truth, whether or not it is seen actually goes into the natural.
Wow, Scarlett's just doing a great job picking off units. Anything she can. Hardly loses a single Muta. Stim will barely complete in time. And ooh, picking up a medevac would be a very nice gain, but Scarlett's just continuing to chip away.
1-2 Marines coming out, but there we have the Lings coming into the natural at the exact same time. The Mutas still have to be careful, and they have to get out of there. They'll come back in when they can, but the damage is being done here. We've got combat shields now on that tech lab, and those Mutas trying to give it up. But a few Mutas were lost there. 3 more on the way with the +1 air weapons on the way, and that gold is up.
Well, if you look, it's 11 Marines versus... or 14 Marines versus 7 Mutalisks it's almost to the point where Scarlett can begin just engaging them directly. And of course, with the Ling threat always possible at the front, this is actually a weird situation because Scarlett must deal damage with this. This is not bonus damage that Scarlett's dealing. She's behind on her third. She actually, if she picks off this tech lab, that would be a big gain.
Not quite yet, but I still feel with all these minerals and what I'm assuming is a ton of larva still means that we could have a potential Ling counterattack happen at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if there's any additional defense for Bomber here at the front, but you see those two Widow Mines right there where the Mutas have been trying to do their little dance. And there are no Widow Mines up there at the front, but and half a wall.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking increasingly excellent for Bomber right now. He's gotten his 1-1 upgrades done, far ahead of Scarlett. No 2-2 yet, but it's about to get underway. Scarlett's got to begin burning that mineral set. It looks like, is there a macro hatch in the main? You betcha. Right now there are the 3 regular hatches, the lair. Bomber's beginning to move out. Baneling speed, long way off.
Ooh, and you know, the creep spread is there, but there's drop potential here at this gold base. And there we see one medevac loaded up. Got a Hellion and 7 Marines inside, and he can also reinforce using those Marines from below. Great positioning by Bomber.
Bomber knows exactly what he's doing in this spot. He's slowly getting the supply lead. He just needs to drop a few at a time. The Mutalist count is not high enough, and Bomber is managing to keep the medevacs alive too, and is just rallying forward at this point.
Yeah, those medevacs are definitely low. If Baneling speed is done right now, I feel like he could make a swing outside of his base and actually just try to sandwich us for the attack. But this is that low ground, high ground play from the Terran that we were talking about early on. And here's going to go in for it again. Will Bounce get those medevacs? No,
looks like
where's
one goes down. Baneling speed not quite done. 1-1 just finishing up now. Scarlett's going for the big surround. And Bomber's forced to pull back. This medevac not on cooldown.
Oh my God.
Oh, Scarlett would have had a huge pickup there. Scarlett now beginning to flood drones, a very dangerous move. This is an extremely tense game. Bomber's hardly even established a third.
Yeah, it's down. It's sort of there. It exists. But here we go. Scarlett moving forward. There are no mines also to help out.
None at all.
These Banelings become far more effective. The splitting looks immaculate, but still damage is done. We do see quite a few of the Marines thinned out. However, it's enough that Bomber's staying alive, and that means more reinforcements are going to be needed. More Banelings are going to be required, which means less Mutas overall. And some idle SCVs there finally. The Mules are like, guys, we're working hard here. Come on, can you contribute a little bit?
Scarlett's also got to get her 2-2 upgrades. She wants to be able to go toe-to-toe with Bomber here. Bomber going to be pulling the same tactical exploit again and again and again. And what an exploit it is. The only thing that Bomber really has to be worried about is that he's cramming too many units up on that top side, and this exact attack might shut him down. And Bomber splitting himself up improperly. Where does Scarlett go? Does she defend her gold? Does she chase after? Defense is on the mind for Scarlett, who's taking a 5th base.
I think defense was absolutely the right call there. As much as it seems so nice to say get a few of those medevacs if possible, keeping that gold base up and also eliminating some of that supply. 126 to 137, and actually Scarlett is behind here in the supply overall, but defending quite well. That 3rd base is now finally up, but keep in mind it's 2 regulars, 3 now, as we've got a 4th and a 5th going up for Scarlett, but that gold still helping out considerably.
God. A mine hit does big damage to that Mutaball. The number of Marines and Marauders coming out is obscene. I mean, Bomber was down to almost no Marines a few seconds ago. Now he's up to 45. 3-3's underway. And it's going to be just like you talked about in the last game, Marcus. 3-3 Bio versus 2-2 Ling Muta. A just terrible situation to be in for the Zerg player. And Scarlett's got to be careful. She did do a nice job baiting a stim without really losing too much, but there's no counterattacks happening this game.
And this is just I mean, obviously this area is just, it's Bomber's playground here. He loves to come over here. There's not really anything that can be done other than maybe like a higher ground spore or something up there that might assist, but you know, it's still pretty nasty. We've got, there's some Banelings rolling in from the side. What do we,
at the third, hello, Scarlett,
goodbye.
Exactly what she needs. The counterattack to decimate the economy of Bomber, who was up to 60, now at 42. Scarlett may have done it. Scarlett may have gotten herself the big lead, but it is far from over because 3-3 is still en route.
Yeah.
And unless Scarlett can annihilate this big pack of units right here, right now, I don't know what chance she'll stand. Oh no!
Oh, the burrow, and there's still several banelings left over, but they managed to get out. That looked like it could have been terrible for Bomber. He did manage to save most of his Marines and sacrifice the Widow Mines as a result. But if a nice baneling hits there, and keep in mind, there's no more Widow Mine defense, or at least there's much less than there was before.
Yeah.
Muta count has gone a little bit higher, but that 3-3 is moments away, and we still, I don't believe, have Hive.
I mean, no matter what question we ask about Scarlett and Bomber, the polls are split. These players incredibly evenly matched. Scarlett's running very low on banelings. She's going to try to use this Mutalisk pack to pick off front lines of Marines. This is exactly what their series was like at the WCS Season 2 Finals. Intense, dramatic, tenuous battles with unclear winners. Bomber swarming forward, going to try to get pickoffs on the banelings. A relatively good engagement for Bomber. Did manage to pick off a lot of those, but the Mutalisk coming forward, going to be able to get a nice free medevac pickoff. But look at the macro of Bomber, Marcus.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It looks like there's just another army that sort of rises from the ground, and it's just there all the time. And it's a testament to how awesome his macro is. There's another counterattack at the third. This time there's plenty more Widow Mines for defense here on Bomber's assault. And see Scarlett going in, but
Scarlett's carefully dancing around. Bomber does have the supply lead, has a tremendous army compared to Scarlett's. The Marine packs keep going back. Scarlett can't commit and lose all of her banelings. Although the third is continuing to be under fire, Bomber's army remains incredibly strong. Banelings rolling in, brilliant connections, absolutely spectacular connections. But the baneling count is low. It is at 0 right now, Marcus. And without banelings, what can you do against this kind of aggression?
Oh, 3 did manage to come out, but it's just the Lings trickling in. A bunch of
Can Scarlett win with just Mutaling here? I don't think she can. She has to retreat at the last second. And with hardly any mutas left, 13. Oh, Bomber, is he going to be able to do it with just a few dozen Marines?
You know, you have to look at this, I think, and say the gold base is worth sacrificing. There's 2 other bases there. There's not really that many drones anyway. Really, the biggest loss there is going to be the gas.
Yes, definitely.
And, you know, so I think that was smart to pull back. Maybe could have happened a little bit sooner, but I don't think that it's necessarily over quite yet, as they're going to go up there, get rid of these drones, and this, that.
Scarlett's picking off the reinforcements. Bomber's worked himself into a corner, but there's still not that many Zerg units here. Here come the banelings. Is this the moment where the remaining forces of Bombers disintegrates? Is this the moment where the Mutapack disintegrates? It's unclear. And Scarlett has barely broken through, but the supply count's still dead even.
Oh my
84
goodness.
to 67, and if you look at the army supply, 44 for Scarlett, 36 for Bomber. What a game 3.
The Marines continue to come out. I believe that we've got that third base back up for Bomber, despite being assaulted multiple times by Scarlett. And lost that gold base. Gold base had done some good mining there. There were a few drones lost up there. You can see 42 to 29, the SCV count dangerously low. And here comes another set of Lings. The reaction on Bomber to get out of those SCVs is absolutely amazing. And this is where it gets scary. The orbital floating over saying, it's my turn to mine gold. I'll tell you what, the gold base can buy you a lot of Marines.
I mean, it's basically erupting back to a 3-base economy all over again. I mean, Scarlett's got to be careful. Has to not walk into these Mutalisk sets, and we see 7 drones in production for Scarlett, who's going to be still not very high on the count. 53 drones to 28. I mean, this is the Zerg's worst nightmare. After you've worked so hard for so long to batter back the Terran, to keep him on 3 bases, and right when you think you've done it, lands at an easily defendable gold base.
Yeah, and that becomes really scary. And maybe that is the thought process of this map, is that I take that gold base when I know I can safely do it, and it's going to help me get a surefire victory. Muta's going in. They take a lot of damage right there. A couple do fall down. Now there's these untouched bases of Scarlett, but you know, there we finally got some drones on that one in the far southeast. I'm still a bit concerned. Are we still not at Hive?
No, in fact, there's not even been an infestation pit started. I mean, Scarlett is essentially banking on a superior economy right now, saying, all right, you got a gold base? That's fine. I got 5 bases, and I will try to starve you out there. Look out, Scarlett. Here she comes, storms into the gold. all that money is going to go out the window. Bomber thought that this push was going to be enough to distract the Zerg, and now he's walking right onto creep territory.
Yeah, he is, and he's realized that, hey, we've got some bases down here. They need to be taken care of. Some more banelings are going to morph in defensively. This is where I wish there was burrow, and you have some defensive burrowed banelings. Going to go up anyway, and we'll see how this goes. There's a couple of Widow Mines there. Kill the packs.
Small
okay.
sets of units being chipped away at. Is this the moment where Scarlett finally ceases the aggression, or where the expansion falls? And it looks like it will be the former. Scarlett repels the attack once again, but a huge pack of bio continues to swarm in. Trademark Bomber macro. How is this possible?
It's a great question. I wish I knew, but you know what? There's just a few banelings left. I think that Scarlett's got to go ahead and get out of this space. There's nothing that she can do to hold it. Now, will they know? Will Bomber know about this other base? Oh my gosh, it's going again. It's
double stimmed Marines with no medevacs. Scarlett tries to break through the front line, still incredibly close. 74 supply for Bomber with only 20 SCVs. But it's just Marines being produced right now. The medevac count is at 0. It's 43 Marines on the map, and that is it. Scarlett's one lone mining base and her natural are all that stands between her and no economy.
And 6 more mutas now, 4 more mutas coming out, so keeping that muta pack strong. Got some additional banelings as well, and the creep spread has helped out significantly trying to hold off some of this, but I'm worried about these impending, as we do have 13 Marines all the time. I mean, an infestation pit to go up to high would be amazing for some investors, but Scarlett's still holding on.
Scarlett's got to begin engaging with just Mutalisks, the worst nightmare scenario. We're seeing more and more Marines pop in. Drone's got to get pulled. It has to be the only desperation choice she has, but it might be the right one because Bomber is only building Marines. There's 30 Marines left on the map. That is it for Bomber. It's drones and mutas, 11 mutas, 10. Can Scarlett withstand, or has Bomber broken through?
I feel like that mutapack's getting very, very thin, Sean, and more Marines coming out. 22 Marines on the field right now, only 22 SCVs, but that's enough to keep that Marine force coming. There's not even full gas being taken on this space over here. And, you know, Scarlett's holding on, but I feel like Bomber with these 10 Marines every single time, eventually he's going to be able to wear down those mutas.
I have no idea how to even analyze this, Marcus. The gold expansion still mining for Bomber. The third still mining for Bomber. The incomes much in favor of Bomber in this circumstance, thanks to those mules, thanks to that gold. Scarlett needs Baneling hits and Baneling hits alone to get the edge in these fights.
But you got to look at that splitting coming out from Bomber. It's perfect in every situation. Another cleanup. But for every single Baneling that's taken, for every single muta that is killed, it becomes that much more difficult for Scarlett. Bomber's continuing to pump 13 Marines across the map pretty regularly, and Scarlett does not want to attack. More mutas coming out for this game.
I mean, it's pure control at this point in time, but Scarlett takes the initiative. Zergling counterattack at Bomber's third. Again, his economy is not in strong shape. And even with these Marines pulling back to defend, oh God, look at that gold for Bomber. He's actually going to be mined out very shortly. I mean, Scarlett just needs to hold a little bit longer if she wants to win. She's long-range mining. Zerglings are going to be the key to absorb those hits, and so the Mutalisks can deal the final damage. But no, Bomber is going to assault the third. What is Bomber's choice? Does he go for the gold? It's completely unclear.
I think Bomber has to go for this attack here on Scarlett. The mutas are way out of position right now. All that is there, well, is nothing. These Zerglings that are going to be trickling in. I know there's about 4 Banelings around here somewhere. There's one of them.
There they come.
And here come the rest.
And it's all up to these Banelings. Can they deal enough damage? 15 Mutalisks trying to clean it up. Scarlett needs this base, but Bomber target fires and he takes it down.
Oh, huge victory for Bomber, and that's going to make it so tough. Those bases that were in the southeast position earlier on that Bomber targeted and took out are no longer there for her to be able to use. And even though that gold base is nearly done, and that third has been under assault by Scarlett with all those great counterattacks, actually, where is Bomber mining from other than this gold right now?
It's essentially just the gold.
Just the gold.
And we're seeing Scarlett's just long-range mining, going Baneling, Zergling, and just praying, essentially. At this point in time, Bomber's not even mining from that third. It's just the gold. Scarlett's going to try to take out this orbital command. It's going to be the right choice, but Bomber has a force with medevacs heading over.
Oh yeah, and getting closer and closer. Did see a couple Lings and Banelings being morphed here. Gonna go ahead and evacuate this base almost immediately. Could come in from the back. And actually, Bomber's ready for it. You can see that he decided against it. We're going on minute 32 of this game, and this is one of the craziest TVZs I think I've seen in quite a while.
It's been close to no base for everyone for a long time. And we're at 54 Marines for the Terran player, but this is a split army. Wherever Scarlett chooses to engage is going to be a good choice. There's the force moving forward with no medevacs up at the third base. Banelings are going to be rolling in, and Bomber is way out of position. And the connections are going to be very, very good. Scarlett's going to clean up this base.
Wow, very impressive. Took out quite a few of those reinforcing Marines as well, and still producing Mutalisks at this point. Long distance mining, as you said, apparently there's still gas coming in. Sitting on about 140 right now. More SCVs going down. There are 5 SCVs. And of course, a lot of Mutalisks.
And there's only 2 medevacs too, so I mean, the healing potential is quite low actually for Bomber. Bomber's been hitting stim pretty frequently at this point, and that's going to be hurting him very hard. Scarlett, though, where are you going, Scarlett? Scarlett's going way out of position into the main base, trying to see if she can maybe pick off some aspect of production, some misrally, some small set of Marines coming out at the wrong spot at the wrong time.
I love this. I love this targeting the reactors. Like right now, that's actually really tough for Bomber to just get back, or he's at least got to wait for the rebuild of those reactors, of course.
Oh, be careful, Scarlett, be careful.
Wanting to minimize, of course, the amount of Marines that could potentially be coming out, but don't get yourself stuck in a bad place right there. There's a lot of air there to work with, but
47 Marines, the entire force for Bomber. 3 SCVs, and that is it. Scarlett continuing to try to just pick off small numbers, loses a Mutalisk.
And that's huge, actually. I mean, the Mutas can regen without the without any medevacs out on the field. And I think did one actually get squeezed out here that at least you got some healing potential. Technically, there's sort of an infinite healing potential. Yeah, the 2 medevacs out now. But this infinite healing potential with these units who have nothing like that. And Bomber is stimming. This is a really close game.
Marcus, Burrow is done. That means burrowed Banelings are going to be huge here. Scarlett losing control a little bit with the lift there. This could be it.
Bomber can't afford to scan, so this oh god, the burrowed Banelings are huge. They're just over to the right a little bit more. Bring them out. Bait him. He's trying to bait. Oh my god! Oh my god, a perfect detonation. What we all expect to see when that kind of thing happens. Chasing the medevacs back in. There's some Banelings here to reinforce as well, but that was
what a game.
Huge.
What a game. Has Scarlett done it? 30 Marines remain. It's a dead even fight. Scarlett's been on no bases. I don't believe it.
1 SCV remaining on the map somewhere. Somehow he stays alive. 30 Marines
the
total.
final push. The final push from Bomber begins, but guess what? The only orbital command is lifted. That is it. Scarlett needs to hold on for one final attack.
2 more Banelings coming in as well. We're going to get these drones cleared out by the Marines, and just like the most amazing Baneling hit could just be single-handedly it for the game.
The last
Another orbital going to go.
The last scan's down. There are no scans left. Scarlett is going to be on burrow and run. She has killed off the last orbital command. Scarlett refuses to engage without the Mutalisk. The Queen's taking damage. A Queen falls, but Scarlett on the regroup is...
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god, the crowd on their feet! Scarlett, the most incredible game I have seen in DVT! Acer Scarlett qualifies for the playoff matches. The crowd has lost their mind.
I think I've lost my mind. That